Thanks, Dave. This is the second event of this type the Cardiff Against the Cuts has put on this year, and I think every time we take an initiative on this issue, it seems to get more and more urgent. It's never been clearer than it is after the announcements this week that the attacks on benefit claimants and the welfare state are aimed at weakening the position of the whole of the working class, of every ordinary working class person in Britain, including those who are in work. The latest announcement by the Tories, we've heard it discussed already today, is their plan for a massive expansion of the workfare programme, forcing the unemployed to do community work or lose their dole. They're also planning, again as has already been discussed, to remove benefits from the under-25s completely. And we have to be realistic about what the effect of that propaganda will be. There will be some who will be tempted by the resentment they feel at their own long hours, at their own low-paid work, who will be tempted or lured into supporting those plans. People like us have got to stop them. I've got to stop them from being pulled down that road, because down that road lies damnation for all of us. The point has got to be made that no organisation is going to pay the going rate for a full-time worker when they can get a steady supply of benefit claimants for free. The effect of expanding that programme will be to cut real jobs in the economy. The effect of it, just like abolishing benefits for the under-25s, will be to force down wages even further. And there's a burning need to build fighting unity between sections of the working class that are in work and those that aren't, for whatever reason, cannot find a job temporarily or need support. Our response has got to be better than we've seen from some politicians. It can't be like that of Labour's benefit spokesperson Liam Byrne, who complained that the expansion of workfare will only hit 2% of the unemployed. We've got to take these arguments on head on. We must fight to defend the welfare state and the old socialist principle. From each according to their ability, to each according to their needs. That's the kind of society that we should be fighting to build. And that's what's being ripped from us. That's what's being taken from us with the £22 billion of cuts for the welfare state, to benefits, to tax credits and the rest. And that's happening, by the way, while the number of millionaires in Britain have doubled in the last 2 years. And the politicians of the main parties have continued to push their snout into the trough. There's been no austerity for the rich, is the truth of it, or their representatives in Parliament. And don't let any politician tell you that there's no alternative but to carry out the cuts. We've had expenses claims at record levels. We've seen a quarter of MPs now putting a member of their family on the payroll. They're very creative when it comes to finding cash for themselves. We want some of that creativity aimed at finding a way around the cuts, protecting people who are damaged by these attacks. Because the real tragedy is that these cuts could have been stopped. A determined effort by a strong political opposition or a programme of industrial action by trade unions could have split this weak coalition up. We could have seen an end to this government if it wasn't for those mistakes. And instead we've had regret, we've had hand-wringing, we've had crocodile tears, but no action. Well, if they won't do it, we've got to make sure that we do it. We've got to build a mass campaign to defend the welfare state, to defend jobs and public services. We've got to demand that the Welsh Government in Wales draws up a plan, not for the implementation of the cuts, not to do the dirty work of the Tories, but to defeat the cuts and to bring the government down, to plug the gap in funding for benefit claimants, to to instruct councils to borrow, to use reserves, to do what is necessary to protect people while a mass campaign is built, calling out the millions onto the streets to fight the cuts. A plan like that could stop the cuts, and not just in Wales, because that example would spread like wildfire throughout the whole of Britain. There wouldn't be a single person in Britain who wouldn't have heard of the Welsh example of refusing to pass on the cuts, of protecting people, of demanding the funding from Westminster. This feeble government could not survive a protest movement like that. Putting that onto the agenda is our task in the period ahead, and I'd encourage everybody, join Cardiff Against the Cuts and be a part of it.